one of the things I like about a lot of these books that I found, including with the playing well with others that we mentioned before the last break, is it invites us to have that childish enthusiasm for living and for our bodies again, that many of us have either shut away, put on the shelf, hidden out, buried, and we can uncover that and like wipe it down, shine it up, and let it sparkle again. And I really love being able to facilitate that for people.
Oh, I love that. And we all have the possibility of getting to sparkle again. So then it's just a matter of choosing it. So yeah, I know that for me, when I was first introduced to like the idea of my own like healing myself, I was so I had some resentment come up. I was like, well, I'm not messed up. And I was like, why would I do that? Blah, blah, blah. So, you know, if even talking about this is kind of like edging you into like uncomfortableness, that's usually kind of a sign that something is coming up to be looked at. And for me, I get really uncomfortable with writing. And so when I know that when I'm really resisting it, I know that's what I need to go do, is like even just start. And so if you're even really resisting getting yourself back to your or stepping into, for maybe the first time, your shiny self, then if you're really avoiding it, it's probably a really good idea to, you know, take that step getting into it. So before break, I had asked Siris about one of the messages that she gleaned from some of her favorite books. So we talked a little bit about that, and I wanted to share with you guys about I think one of my more recent reads in the last year was Come As You Are by Emily Nagoski. And Emily is like a sex educator researcher. She's got like a TED Talks out there. She's phenomenal. And her sister, she's like got a twin, and her sister, I think, also does sex education. So they're quite a duo.
I love it.
Emily, there were some outstanding things in her book that I think I couldn't share more if I tried. And one of the things she talks about a lot is that arousal does not mean desire or pleasure. And so just because your body's aroused doesn't mean you desire sex or that you're having pleasure. And so I think that was really, like, the way she worded it was so freaking clear that anybody could understand it, including judges who say, well, you know, you think you got raped, but you were turned on, so you weren't really. Well, she puts it so clear that even a daft judge could hear it. So I think that's really great. And I love that message that she shared. And then another one that she shares is she looked at the biology of bodies and how they develop in utero. And she basically says, like, no matter how you identify or how you've been identified when you were born, whether you're AMAB or AFAB, or whether you are identified as intersex. For those of you who don't know what AMAB, AFAB are, they were assigned female at birth, assigned male at birth, and then intersex is not often identified, but it's really prevalent, but often overlooked. So she talks about how all of us all have the same body parts organized different. So, you know, whether it's like, you know, your ovaries have the same, you know, in development, they have the same tissue development and everything as testicles, right? So there are all these like connecting parts. And I think, to me, this is a book that when you feel comfortable enough about your, you know, having conversations about sex, this is to me like a book that, like, if you're 16, I'd say probably, I don't know, maybe some people are younger and they'd feel comfortable listening to this too. But if you're like, you know, 16 to like wherever, this book is great with education